Welcome to this explainer. Look, even if you've hired pros before, cutting through the contractor jargon on a major plumbing estimate can be seriously overwhelming. It's like they're speaking a totally different language, right? Today, we're going to break down exactly how to read, compare, and negotiate these documents like an absolute pro. This isn't just about saving a few bucks. It's about taking total control of your next home project. Because it really all boils down to one critical question. Are you actually paying for what you need? It's human nature to just jump straight to the bottom of the page, wince at that final number, and reluctantly sign on the dotted line. But the real truth of your investment, it lives in the itemized list right above it. Decoding those details is exactly how we spot hidden fees before it's too late. Once you understand the anatomy of a quote, you strip away the mystery and protect your wallet. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the scope of work, decode the labor and fees, look at parts, permits, and cleanup, figure out how to manage the unexpected, and finally, wrap up with warranties and final value. Let's get right into it. Starting right at the top of the page, Section 1, the scope of work, which is all about setting the boundaries of your repair. Okay, so before you even glance at a dollar amount, you've got to ensure the document clearly identifies the exact problem being solved. If you called about a leaking water heater, the scope must explicitly name that heater, detail its location, and list out the specific tasks they plan to do to fix it. If the scope just says something vague like fix leak, you are leaving the door wide open for miscommunication and, honestly, major upcharges. A tightly written scope protects you from scope creep. And this brings us to a massive trap you've got to watch out for, the exclusions. Look, plumbers are pipe experts, not drywall guys or painters. To access a tricky leak, they might need to cut a pretty sizable hole in your living room wall. If restoring finished surfaces is listed as an exclusion, well, that giant hole is officially your problem. You'll be hiring a second contractor just to patch it. So always know your exclusions up front so you aren't hit with secondary repair costs that you definitely didn't budget for. Moving right along to Section 2, decoding labor and fees. This is where we distinguish the costs of time and expertise. You'll often notice that overlapping concepts are lumped together into one confusing number by contractors. But we actually have three distinct fees to look at here. The service call fee basically covers dispatching the truck to your driveway. Then, diagnosis labor is the troubleshooting phase where they figure out what's wrong. And finally, the hourly rate or labor is the actual time spent executing the physical repair. If you just see one giant line item simply labeled labor, you have zero visibility into how your money is being divided up. And because those initial fees overlap, you absolutely must ask, is the service fee credited toward the final job price? Often, a plumber charges, say, $150 just to knock on your door and assess the situation. But if you approve the $800 repair, a fair contractor is going to credit that initial dispatch fee towards your total. Get that verified in writing because it can drastically swing your final cost. Bottom line, don't pay twice for the exact same visit. You also need to lock down exactly how that labor itself is calculated. Are we looking at a fixed estimate or an open-ended amount? If they quote a flat $500, verify exactly what that includes. Does it cover the troubleshooting, the repair, and the cleanup? On the flip side, if it's an open-ended hourly rate, be super careful. A job that hits an unexpected snag and takes twice as long is going to cost you twice as much. Fixed estimates are what give you peace of mind. All right, let's keep going. Section 3, parts, permits, and cleanup. This is all about tracking the physical materials and the rules. This section should honestly read like a highly detailed recipe. You've got your replacement parts, specific valves, flex hoses, and pipes. You have your major units, like the water heater itself. Quick tip here, always check the brand and model number so you can verify the quality of what's going into your home. But keep your guard up for broad terms like miscellaneous or overhead. You really need to know the exact difference between a necessary fitting and a vague fee they're just using to quietly pad the final bill. Okay, keep your eyes peeled for this specific word, allowance. In the contracting world, an allowance means your final total is just an assumption. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a placeholder, not a locked-in price. Let's say they put a $200 allowance for a new faucet. If the one required to actually fit your sink, or the one you really want, costs $350, you are directly on the hook for that $150 difference. Remember, an allowance is an estimate, not a promise. Treat it as a variable that could easily inflate your bill. Then there's the red tape, permits. If you're altering city water lines, doing sewer work, running gas lines, or making major replacements, your local municipality needs to know about it. A fully transparent quote is going to list permit fees as a separate concrete line item. If you see the vague phrase, permits as required, pause immediately. Ask them, who exactly is going to City Hall? And more importantly, are those fees baked into the price? Or is a surprise invoice going to arrive in your mail a month later? And please, never assume the cleanup is just thrown in for free, especially for massive items like cast iron tubs, sump pumps, or old water heaters. Look for a disposal line item and verify it covers all three of these phases. Phase 1, physically detaching and removing the damaged materials. Phase 2, hauling that debris off your property. And Phase 3, actually paying the municipal dump fees. Without this in writing, you might just find yourself dragging an old toilet to the curb yourself. Next up, Section 4. Managing the unexpected, or as I like to call it, handling surprises behind the walls. It's just the unfortunate reality of home repair. Plumbing problems often reveal additional issues only after access is gained. I mean, your plumber could only quote you for what they can see from the outside, right? Opening a wall might expose hidden leaks, extreme pipe corrosion, or outdated fittings that simply can't be reused and legally must be brought up to modern building codes. Which brings us to a total game changer, change orders. If the contractor finds damaged substructure hiding behind that wall, you need to know right now how that surprise will be handled. Is extra work billed at a standard hourly rate? Is it unit pricing? Or, best of all, does it require a brand new written authorization from you before they even proceed? Never sign a quote that just ignores the possibility of hidden damage. Having an explicit agreement dictates exactly how your wallet handles the unexpected. Finally, we reach the bottom of the page with Section 5, Warranties and Final Value. This is how you determine your true long-term protection. You really have to distinguish between a labor workmanship warranty and a manufacturer parts warranty. Two identical bottom-line prices might actually offer wildly different long-term value. Think about it. If contractor A guarantees their physical labor for 5 years, but contractor B only relies on the factory warranty of the pipe itself, contractor A is the clear winner. You absolutely want a guarantee on the physical work they did, not just the plastic or copper they used. And just like the scope of work, you've got to read those warranty exclusions. A warranty isn't some magic force field against everything that goes wrong in your house. Common exclusions include misuse by the homeowner, totally unrelated plumbing issues, and interestingly enough, damage from improper installation, which is super ironic, but absolutely true for manufacturer warranties. If your kitchen sink backs up, that pristine new water heater warranty down in the basement isn't going to help you one bit. Okay, let's pull all these puzzle pieces together. Comparing quotes really means evaluating structural clarity just as ruthlessly as the final price tag. A strong, trustworthy quote is fundamentally transparent. It provides a clearly spelled out scope, it separates the labor from the parts, it explains the service and disposal fees, and it sets definitive rules for permits and unexpected changes. If any line item looks murky to you, especially those tricky red flag words like miscellaneous, allowance, or as required, demand a plain language explanation before a single wrench is turned. Remember, you're the customer. You have the absolute right to challenge industry jargon. Don't let anyone make you feel silly for protecting your hard-earned money and demanding total transparency. So, when you're comparing documents side by side, ask yourself, which one actually offers the best true value? A slightly higher initial quote that features guaranteed cleanup, clear warranties, and fixed labor is almost always going to save you thousands over a seemingly cheap estimate that's secretly built on allowances and open-ended hourly rates. Believe me, the cheapest quote rarely survives once the walls are actually opened up. Armed with this line-by-line breakdown, you are now totally equipped to evaluate any estimate with confidence and dodge those expensive traps. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're handed a plumbing quote, will you spot the hidden surprises before you sign? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy repairing.